Hey, welcome and thanks for watching. This is the Crypto Coach Blockchain Wayne. I'm going to show you today, we're going to talk about different types of cryptocurrency investors. Now, this is going to poke a little fun into everybody because a lot of people have multiple of these traits, but wanted to point it out in a way to show you that there are many ways to get involved in cryptocurrency that could cause you to lose a lot, if not all, of your money. So at the same time of poking a little fun, we're going to educate you on different ways of what not to do, because obviously research and learning how to understand and research projects is the best thing to do for your cryptocurrency investment. Learn what moves the market, learn what makes things happen, and what companies are truly innovating, and then you'll see where the true investments in cryptocurrency lie. But we want to poke a little fun and show you some of the different crypto personalities that we're going to talk about here. So first, let's talk about Slot Machine Sally. So if you look, basically this is someone that's just gambling, just throwing money at whatever pops up, whatever's on the news feed, whatever they feel like, or just kind of like that slot machine mentality. If you ever seen someone play a slot machine, they're just blindly either pulling the wheel or pressing the button and just hoping that something wins. And that's what some people do when it comes to cryptocurrency investing and really investing in general. I see the same thing in the stock market, but that's the first one. So next, let's talk about Peer Pressure Peter. So if you look at this one, this guy basically just gives in to whatever his friends are saying. His friends saying, buy this, buy that, buy that. They don't have any kind of clue. He doesn't even know why they're saying it, but he's just investing and investing and investing. And that's another recipe for losing money, for getting wrecked. Even good investments, good projects can give you, cause you some pain. But the last thing you want to do is just give in to what friends are saying. And most of these people do very little to no research. Just a friend said to buy this, so I went out and bought it. All right, next let's look at little bit of everything Ethan. So this person feels like, hey, the best way is diversification, but sometimes there's over diversification. Diversification without research is also just another recipe to get your money lost, to get what we call wrecked, R-E-K-T, right? It's this term is catching on quickly. So just dabbling in everything. We learn that diversity is important, but sometimes if you don't look into the projects and you're just throwing a little bit of money at everything, you're going to end up with nothing or not much. So don't be like that. Next would be YouTube Shiller Shiloh. So if you look at this one, this is someone that sees a YouTube shiller. Now, what is a YouTube shiller? YouTube shiller is someone that, quote unquote, calls themselves a crypto influencer. Now, crypto influencer is a term that I've never really liked because all they end up doing is tying themselves to projects for greed and just telling people what to buy. Think about it. If I have enough followers and I tell you all the cryptocurrency is going to go up, and enough of you take my advice and buy it, what's going to happen organically? It's going to go up. But that's an inorganic pump. It's not going to last. So there's so many YouTube shillers out there. And so YouTube Shiller Shiloh, the one depicted here, is just someone that's going off of the advice of somebody saw on YouTube. Someone on YouTube said this cryptocurrency is going to hit $589, even though it's less than $1 right now. Now, those of you may catch that inside joke, but that's exactly what happens. And then they tell all their friends. So some of these personalities overlap because YouTube Shiller Shiloh then becomes the peer pressure person that convinces their friend to buy the same crypto, and that can cause a lot of problems. So YouTube Shiller Shiloh, again, don't become that person. Next one would be FOMO Head Harry. So what is FOMO? FOMO is fear of missing out. So what happens is people see these big gains that are happening on crypto. Maybe a crypto went from 13 cents to 39 cents. Now, may not seem like a lot, but that's triple the value of an investment if someone invested early on. But most people jump in after the hype. They hear the hype, they see that it's already pumped, and they think, oh, this thing's going to keep going up forever. Let me jump in. And FOMO Head Harry jumps in and gets completely wrecked because they're buying at the top of a market cycle. This is a legitimate project. Eventually, over time, it can recover. And if this person didn't panic sell at the bottom, then they'll eventually recoup some investment. But if it's not really a legitimate project, it's just a project that's being pumped, doesn't have a lot of true worth or work behind it, then those projects will never recover. We see a lot of those from 2017 that just have never, ever recovered even just a little bit. So next is going to be Telegram Sucker Sam. So Telegram Sucker Sam is kind of similar to the YouTube, and but this is someone that gets into a Telegram group for that particular crypto, and all they're looking at is the hype and the chat within that one crypto group that is designed to build hype around that project. They get so caught up in the hype, they buy into a project without doing any real research. Hey, there's a Telegram group. There's a bunch of active members. It's got to be real. It's got to happen. And what happens is they get can potentially lose a lot. Now, I'm not saying that's with every project, but quite a few. That's what happens. Is if you notice the underlying issue, it's not that people are making their investment after this information is being found out from different sources. It's there's little to no research outside of that. Just taking people's word for it, whether it's a friend or some social media personality or some quote-unquote crypto influencer. That's what's happening. So next is going to be account manager victim victor. Now, account manager victim, that's someone that you get into crypto because someone private messages you and say they're a Bitcoin account manager. Now, you understand that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency equate to freedom of you to transact without having to need a broker or anything else. You realize that really quickly, anybody that says they're an account manager for Bitcoin, and sometimes they'll tie in mining with that, they're lying. They're scammers. Those are created to scam people. Some people think, oh, I send this person some money, some Bitcoin. I send them 0.1 Bitcoin. They're going to send me 1 Bitcoin back. Nobody is going to do that. And then people still get baited. And even after they've sent the money and they're waiting for a return, then that quote unquote account manager is going to reach out to them and say, there's a withdrawal fee that has to be paid before you can withdraw your money. And then they try to get you for one more money. That's the last little, bait before they really set the hook, because once they do that, then they're done. You're never going to see your money again. So anybody that's an account manager, says they're an account manager, don't be one of their victims and fall for that. Anybody that just randomly doesn't know you and private messages you about investing in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, you need to avoid anyway, because there's some kind of catch or some kind of scam going on. As much as I want people to learn about and invest and build the crypto ecosystem, I don't just randomly message people I don't know and say, hey, have you heard of Bitcoin? Or, so most of those, there's an underlying catch to it, and you want to avoid those. So don't be like that one. Next one is going to be All-in-One O'Neil. Now, All-in-One O'Neil is someone that just sees one crypto they think is going to be the best, and they go all in on it. And if you think about that, it's no different than somebody at a casino taking all their chips and pushing it all in on one hand. Now, you can win big. You can also get wrecked big. You can lose everything. So those are things that you want to make sure you avoid when you're looking into crypto. And I'm not saying diversify into every little crypto that's out there, but if you go all in on one, you're betting your money on a project. And I've even learned, even projects that I've researched, done the research, everything looks legit, they just never really get any traction, never get anything. And eventually developers move on to other projects, and that becomes a dead project. Was it created to be a scam? No, it wasn't. But even good projects will fail. Let's face it. That's what happens. That's what's going to happen. We see it in business every day, right? Good, legitimate businesses fail every day. So why would it be any different in the cryptocurrency world? So don't go all in on one project. All right. Next is going to be this person is just too scared to start, right? They just watch. I didn't even come up with a name for them. They're just too scared to start. They just watch what happens in the market. They see it when things are at the bottom of a market cycle, they're too scared to buy because they're scared it's going to keep going down. And then as it goes up, they fear that they've already missed out, and they don't do anything. And people just watch. And then eventually it gets to the top of a market cycle, and they'll probably at that point either shift in, but then they're just filled with regret for not getting in, not taking the time to learn. So people are just too scared, too frightened to even jump in to the space, and they're going to miss out. They're not even going to take the chance, and you miss 100% of the swings you don't take. So that's why it's important to learn and understand, and don't be that person that's just too scared to get in. We've got resources to help you with that. Next is going to be buy high, sell low guy. Now, we know this person. Now, nobody's strategy is ever really designed to buy it high and then sell it lower, but in lack of a strategy, lack of a profit-taking strategy, or learning how to set stop losses, or any kind of other strategy, you can become that person. And they're kind of tied to the FOMO guy. The FOMO guy is someone that bought at the top because the market had already pumped, and then they hear all the hype. They think it's just going to keep going up forever. They jump in and buy and end up losing, because that market then takes a dump, because no market goes straight up forever. If you look at any market cycle, you see it goes up and down, even legitimate projects that are going up. So FOMO has someone they bought at the top, but then when it gets down low, they think it's going to keep going down forever. The same people thought it was going to go up forever, now think it's going to go down forever, and they panic sell at the bottom. Buy high, sell low. Now, look, we need people like that, because if we want to be able to sell at the top, we need someone to buy at the top. And if we want to be able to buy at the bottom, we need someone to sell at the bottom. So there's really nothing wrong with that. Just make sure it's not you, and that you're not the one that's doing that. So next one, this one's kind of funny. This is DeFi Degen and FOMO Farmer. So this all in one, and you may want to if you're new to crypto or haven't heard much about crypto, you may be wondering what that is. So DeFi, decentralized finance, is a hot topic right now, where there's a lot of decentralized finance tools that are created to help you, that you can earn yield from investing and earning a % return. Anything you typically used to be able to do with financial institutions. Maybe you lend money, you invest money into that. When you lend money, you earn interest on the money that you lend, and you can do that in a decentralized atmosphere utilizing smart contracts. Now, DeFi has a very bright future, but there's a lot of scams out there. Just with anything, there's a lot of projects that aren't going to make it. There's a lot of projects that have bad code to where you're going to lose all your money from a glitch in the code. So there's still a lot of work to be done in DeFi. But when I say DeFi Degen, this is the person that just jumps in and throws money at all these DeFi projects, similar to the person buying a little bit of everything, or maybe going all in on one, hoping that this one investment is going to give them 10, 20, 100 times their investment. And because we've seen it happen before, but at the same time, that's going to be the exception and not the norm. And chances are you'll end up losing everything. There's a Telegram thread that I follow called Wrecked Plebes, and Wrecked Plebes is actually it's an aggregate of all kind of social media posts from all over the web, of people just posting their story or what happened, or people complaining about losing all their money, taking 40. I saw one this morning. They took 40,000 and turned it into 2,000 by jumping into these degen projects. So DeFi Degen is no different than a degenerative gambler. It's just basically throwing money with no strategy, no plan, just jumping into, it's the hottest thing. So let's just jump in and throw money at everything. We saw the same thing in 2017 with the ICOs, where people, anything that had an ICO attached to it, people were throwing money at. Whether it was good project, bad project, people didn't really care. People didn't really know. Same thing's happening in DeFi right now. So a lot of these crap projects are going to crash, go away. There's going to be a bubble that's going to burst. But I feel confident what's going to emerge from that is going to be true tech that's going to evolve. Just like we saw what happened in the 2000s with the dot-com bubble. In the early 2000s, every company wanted to be a dot-com company. And then what happened was that bubble, there was a hype bubble, and then that bubble burst, and a lot of those companies went down to nothing. I mean, even companies like Amazon lost 90% of their value overnight, but they continued to innovate and create value and eventually became the powerhouse that they are today. Same thing is going to happen in the decentralized space with DeFi. Legitimate projects are going to win, but don't be that DeFi degen. All right. Next one is this guy is a Shitcoin Collector. Now, when I say shitcoins, I mean, typically most cryptocurrencies are shitcoins. Now, what is that term and why am I using that? Because it's a term that's been coined because most cryptocurrencies are crap. Anybody can create a cryptocurrency. I can create one today and I can sell it to you for whatever price you're willing to pay. And it has zero purpose, zero project behind it, zero developers behind it. But if I give enough hype, there's going to be people that's going to buy it. And that's what I'm talking about. Now, sometimes you have to take a chance. If you look at a project and you feel for other reasons it could be a solid project down the road, it may still be called by many people a shitcoin early on, but if it's got true promise, then it could eventually develop into something great. But this person doesn't care. Anything that's out there that's low cap that they think is going to pump, it's no different than just throwing money at penny stocks. They think if I buy all of these different shit coins and crap coins, then eventually one of them is going to give me all of my money back. The problem is if you invest into 100 different ones and only one of them gives you 100x return, then you, at best, you've made your money back, right? So, but that's usually not always the case. Typically, people lose when it comes to that. All right, next one here. This one is Mr. Leveraged and Wrecked. And what do I mean by that? Leveraged and Wrecked basically means they jump into trading without understanding trading. Now, I see this happen a lot. Now, this is why you need to get educated and learn not just how to trade. Learning how to trade, the mechanics of it, is just one aspect. Mindset and strategy and so many other things go into trading. And learning how to identify what else moves the market are important. But this person just jumped in, makes trades, maybe wins a few trades and think they're good. You know, the worst thing that can happen to someone that jumps into trading without any experience or any knowledge is that they'll win a few trades, because then they get confident, they get cocky, and eventually lose everything. You know, and when I say leverage trading, that's the best way to lose big time, because leverage is when you're borrowing to increase your position size, which that borrowing has to be paid back. So in essence, if I invest in something and I trade it, I buy it and it goes down and I sell it at a lower price, the only thing I've lost is the difference in price. With leverage trading, you can lose everything. It can liquidate everything you go into that trade with. And if you're not paying attention to what type of orders you're making, you could lose everything in your whole account if a trade goes the wrong way. In other words, you're betting 100x it's going to go up. You know, you're going long on it is what they call it. And it actually price dumps. There's a certain liquidation point where it gets to where you can no longer cover what the collateral you borrowed. So it liquidates your entire holdings and takes that away. So now you can see that's even more dangerous. Yes, you can make more money from leverage trading, but you can also lose way more money. So it's important to understand that. All right, next is going to be our moon boy or moon girl, whatever you want to call it. This is someone that just, you know, they're kind of similar to the all-in-one person potentially, where they just think this cryptocurrency is going to go to the moon. It's a joke going on, and you think about just skyrocketing gains. So that's why, you know, you think of the moon turn that comes in. So a lot of these people that are just blind to everything around them will become moon boys. Now there's one project out there that coins this name the most, or gets called this the most, and it's because people think just because they hear the company's name in the news a lot means that that crypto is going to do well, when there's very little use for the crypto, even though the companies, you know, their projects, their products are going to thrive and the company may do well. The token and coin itself is not really doing a whole lot. So it's important not to be a moon. Don't be blinded by greed. The biggest thing about moon boys and moon girls is they get blinded by greed just because you think a project's going to go to the moon. It's got to. Everybody's talking about it. Blah, blah, blah. So-and-so's using it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go to the moon. You've got to look at other factors. And that's what we teach you when we talk about how to research projects, how to look into projects. It's more than just, oh, I hear this on the news all the time. It's going to have to go up. All right. Last one here. This person here has been pumped and dumped. Now, what is a pump and dump? Now, pump and dump basically means there's groups out there. Now, whether they're in Facebook, Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, whatever, but they're created for the sole purpose of what's called pump and dump. In other words, they will take a project with very little market cap or very low trading volume, and they will get a group together to have buying behavior to make the price skyrocket on a certain crypto. And then what's going to happen is it's inorganic. Eventually, those people that organize the pump and dump are going to sell. Now, they're going to sell before the masses that start to follow the pump and dump. So 9 times out of 10, if you get into a pump and dump scheme like this, thinking that, hey, you're going to profit as well, you may be that sucker that's going to be holding the bag when they dump the price, right? And it can dump hard. It's going to dump fast. It doesn't matter if it still goes up after you buy it. There's still a chance it's going to continue to drop well below what you paid for it. So most of the time, there always has to be suckers in this. There's always somebody getting hurt. So don't be that sucker that gets dumped on and stuck with this crypto that's now you're way upside down in your investment. Not because you bought on top of a long-term market cycle. This pump can happen within an hour, within a few hours. But eventually, people are going to start taking profits. People are going to start pulling out. And so it's best to just avoid that whole behavior, thinking you're like greed blind you into thinking that, okay, it's not going to be me. I'm not going to be this one to get hurt. And then what happens is people get, you know, after the pump, always comes the dump. You can look at it in history. Even good projects dump after a certain amount of profit is made because people start taking those profits out, securing profits. Smart people do. Learn when to take your profits out, take your money out. Even if you're in it for the long term, the more you learn how to do that, the better chance you have of increasing your holdings. So I think this project's great long term. I'm going to try to sell at the top of a market cycle, not because I want to get all my profits out, but because when the market cycle dips, then I have more capital to buy more and I increase my holdings. So it's not always about selling and pulling profits completely out the market. Sometimes it's being able to increase your investments without throwing more capital in, but just by being smart about how to invest. But pump and dumps are not a way to do that. So just avoid those altogether. So hope you understand from what you've heard today. Had a little fun with this, but it's really important that you understand the best thing you can do is educate yourself on the market, on the projects, anything you want to get into. It takes time. It takes education. Your level of investment should only match your level of understanding, but also it's important that you learn all aspects. People that say, I just want to learn how to invest for the long term, I don't want to learn how to trade. Those are just people that don't want to take the time to learn how to trade. So I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but just history will show you can make way more trading market cycles than just buying and holding. Could you have an investment today that's worth 3, 4, 5 times what you put in a few years from now? Absolutely. Even if you just set it and forget it, like the rotisserie commercial. But there's also ways to earn more. But make sure when you're doing things and you're doing things within the market, whether you're making buys, making sells, or considering what to put money into, make sure you're none of these people that we just talked about here. Make sure that that's not you, because it's very important that you make the best decisions. There's always going to be suckers in the market. There's always going to be people that are going to lose. Like I said before, for people to sell at the top, there have to be people to buy at the top of a market cycle. So it's up to you to decide which one that's going to be. So thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all later.